There is a rare kind of person you may have noticed in life. Someone who stays quiet even when everything around them feels like it is collapsing. They don't argue loudly. They don't rush to defend themselves. They don't react instantly. Instead, they pause. They breathe. They observe. While others are drowning in chaos, they stand still, almost as if they have walked through storms before and already know how they end. And if you have ever wondered why some people stay calm while others fall apart, the truth is deeper than personality. True calmness is not the absence of emotion. It is emotion guided by understanding. People who are calm don't feel less. They often feel more. But somewhere along their journey, they learned that reacting quickly rarely solves anything. At some point in their life, they realized something important. You cannot stop every storm, but you can decide how you stand in the rain. Most calm people were not born this way. Once, they overthought everything. They cared too deeply. They tried to fix every problem and please every person around them, and every time they tried to control life, life reminded them that it doesn't bend so easily. Eventually, they stopped trying to control the ocean and instead learned how to surf it. That is what calmness truly is. Not emotional coldness, but emotional wisdom. Psychology describes this as emotional regulation. But in reality, it is much more than that. It is not about hiding feelings. It is about understanding them so deeply that they no longer control your actions. Calm people can feel anger without exploding. They can feel sadness without losing themselves. They can sit with uncertainty without collapsing under it, because inside them lives a quiet reminder. This moment will pass, not because they are blindly optimistic, but because experience has already proven it to them. Many people misunderstand calm individuals. They assume calmness means distance or indifference, but often it means compassion. Calm people are usually the ones who hold space for others during chaos. They are the ones who can comfort someone without adding to panic. They don't feed emotional fire. They become emotional shelter. There is also a quiet strength hidden inside calmness. It is the strength of restraint, knowing that not every argument deserves your voice. Not every insult deserves your energy. Not every storm deserves your fear. Sometimes, peace is chosen intentionally, even when instinct tells you to fight. Science explains part of this behavior. Inside the brain, there is a structure called the amygdala, responsible for fear and emotional reaction. In people who have practiced mindfulness or faced intense emotional experiences, this system becomes more balanced. Their thinking brain learns to step in before emotion takes over. In simple words, they create space between feeling and reacting, and that small pause becomes their greatest power. Most calm people learned this lesson the hard way, through heartbreak, through rejection, through moments where reacting only made things worse. Eventually, they reached a turning point. They became tired of their own emotional chaos, tired of explaining, tired of regretting quick reactions, and slowly, peace became more valuable than being right. But here is something many people don't realize. Calm people often carry invisible storms. Their calmness is not effortless. It is built through pain, reflection, and emotional discipline. They have cried in private, questioned their worth, felt misunderstood, and through those experiences, they discovered something powerful. Peace is not a reward for an easy life. It is a skill built after surviving a difficult one. Calm individuals also think differently. They are not controlled by impulse. They are guided by perspective. They don't chase validation. They search for meaning. Because they understand something most people overlook. If you react to everything, you become controlled by everything. But the calmer you become, the freer you feel. Psychologists call this response flexibility. It means choosing your reaction instead of letting emotion choose it for you. Calm people don't suppress emotion. They allow emotion to move through them without letting it destroy them. That is why they may stay composed during crisis, but release their feelings later. In silence, they understand emotional timing. Another unique trait of calm people is perception. Where most people see problems, they see patterns. Where most people see endings, they see transformation. They naturally zoom out and look at life from a wider perspective. This is why they can lose something important and still say, maybe there is a reason behind this. Not as denial, but as experience speaking through acceptance. Calmness also acts as emotional protection. For some people, it started as survival. They learned early that loud reactions didn't change outcomes, so their silence became armor. But over time, that armor transformed into awareness and strength. Calm people usually possess strong self-awareness. They recognize their triggers. They understand their emotional patterns. They feel comfortable in stillness, because stillness is not emptiness, it is clarity. It is the moment where a person stops running from themselves. There is also something magnetic about calm individuals. They don't demand attention when they enter a room, yet their presence naturally shifts the atmosphere. They don't raise their energy to match chaos. They lower the chaos around them. Calm people understand the cost of caring about everything. They know worrying rarely prevents problems. Arguing rarely changes minds. Rushing rarely improves outcomes, so they let go of what drains them, not because they don't care, but because they finally understand the price of giving energy to everything. They also accept a difficult truth about life. Life is not always fair, and once they accept that, half of their emotional suffering disappears. Instead of asking, "Why me?" they begin to think, "Why not me?" Not out of defeat, but out of understanding that struggle is part of being human. Calm people also respect time. They don't rush closure. They allow clarity to unfold naturally, because rushing understanding often leads to misunderstanding. Patience, for them, is not weakness, it is wisdom disguised as stillness. The secret ingredient behind calmness is trust. Not trust that life will always be easy, but trust that they will survive whatever comes next. This belief builds a quiet confidence, not loud confidence that seeks attention, but steady confidence that creates safety for others. Of course, calm people are not perfect. They still feel anger. They still experience doubt. They still lose balance sometimes. But they know how to return to stillness. They observe their emotions. They accept them. And then they release them, because emotions are like waves. They cannot be stopped, but they can be ridden. Calm people understand that no single emotional moment defines their entire life. They welcome both happiness and pain, knowing both are temporary visitors. Eventually, calmness changes how a person sees the world. They begin valuing quiet moments more than loud achievements. They seek meaningful connections over constant validation. They measure success not by how much they achieve, but by how peacefully they live. Calmness is not the absence of emotion. It is emotional maturity. It is power without aggression, strength without noise, feeling without chaos. And maybe the most important truth is this: calmness is not something you find at the end of life's journey, it is something You create the moment you stop fighting life and start understanding it, because life will always test you. It will shake you, challenge you, push you out of rhythm. But every time life does that, you are given a choice: react or return to calm. And every time you choose calm, you grow stronger, wiser, and freer. If someone ever tells you that you are too calm, take it as a compliment. It means you have learned how to witness the storm without becoming the storm, because calmness is not emptiness. It is fullness without noise.